Hi there, I'm Bill Meeks and I'm here to answer your questions about freelance media production. A little background on me, I've been running my company Meeks Mixed Media for about 3.5 years now. I'm a completely independent content producer. I'm a one-man shop. But anyway, I solicited questions on Google+, Twitter, and Reddit. Reddit was the most responsive, specifically the video editing subreddit, so I'm going to answer your questions now. Okay, our first question comes from username Modus, and he asks, how do you decide what to charge? Well, Modus, a lot of my projects are fixed fee, meaning, I say, okay, that'll be $500 for a 1-minute animated video or whatever. That fixed fee is based on my hourly rate and experience I have doing projects in the past. Doing a 1-minute animated video, I know about how long that'll take me. It'll take me about 8 to 10 hours, depending on what resources they have and everything. Okay, the next question comes from McCarney BSA, and they ask, what has been your most valuable marketing tool? Well, honestly, it's actually been free work, which I know is frowned upon, but I was a fan of the Twit network of podcasts, Leo Laporte's podcast network. Occasionally, they'd put out calls for little video bumps, specifically on the NSFW show with Brian Brushwood and Justin Robert Young. They'd have, challenges during the show to put together a little video or something. I would end up doing that, just being a fan of the show, wanting to help contribute to it. And, then people saw my work and then they would come to my website or hit me up on Twitter and, ask me if I wanted to do a project for them. And that's honestly been my biggest marketing tool. I also try and, every once in a while put something informational, something I've learned along the way, like this video, to try and help out other people in my position. And then people see I know what I'm talking about, and they come and contact me for work, which is nice. Okay, username Iguana Blazer asks, how do you handle charging clients when they want an unrealistic turnaround with a project? Well, generally, if someone comes to me and they're like, I want a 3-minute video done and I need it done tomorrow, I'll double the price on them. A lot of times, if it's a fixed fee, I'll double that fixed fee, what I would normally charge. Or if they're doing an hourly rate, I'll increase it at least 50%, if not 100%. Just because I always have 2 or 3 active clients going, and if someone needs something rushed, like tomorrow or the next day, that means I have to put those other clients on hold. It means I have to stay up late, so I can do both of them at the same time a lot of times. So, there's a cost that comes with that. If I don't get any sleep, I'm gonna wanna charge more for it, Definitely, even when you're starting out, I wouldn't be like, okay, you need to rush tomorrow, here's my regular rate, because that just undersells you, and the client a lot of times will come back expecting that level of pricing in the future, and that just means you have 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, you're gonna have the same problem over and over again, and you're not gonna be getting paid what you're worth. Okay, a very nice chat asks, I'm getting into this and I basically am just curious about the business side. Should I try and get paid a bit up front, then the rest on completion? Yeah, that's basically what I do. Like, over the course of the first year, a lot of times I wouldn't require any payment until the project was done, which was a huge mistake. A lot of times they just completely stiff me the entire fee, take the video and run. Now what I do generally is I have a payment schedule. 33% upfront, before I even set up a folder for them on my work drive. 33% before I send them the rough draft, and then 34% once we're completely settled, I've applied all of their notes, they're completely happy with the project, and I've given them the final draft. This way, if the client isn't happy or is trying to do a cut and run on the rough draft stage, at least you've gotten 66% of your fee. A lot of times, 90% of the work is done when you send them that rough draft, so you still lose out a little bit, but at least that way you're not walking away with nothing. Now, I modify this a lot depending on the client. If it's a trusted client, sometimes I'll waive the upfront and the rough draft and just be like, hey, pay me at the end. If we've had a long working history. But generally, unless, they're very trusted, like you trust them with your life, I'd recommend getting an upfront, a payment on the rough draft, and a payment on the final draft. This user deleted his username after he posted his question, so I don't know the username, but I'll just call him anonymous. How do you know when the right time is to quit your full-time job and pursue freelancing as your primary source of income? Well, for me, I was working as a video editor, producer, and web developer at a manufacturing company, and I was basically getting paid about what a manager at a shop at the mall would get paid, about I think $11 an hour, and they had promised a raise, and that raise never came, and I started doing freelance on the side, and I realized I could make just as much as I was making at the manufacturing company doing freelancing from home, and then that way I'd save on gas and things like that. It just made sense at the time. Obviously, you're going to want to make sure you're financially stable and everything. Honestly, I probably took the leap a little too soon. Freelancing pays well if you get good clients, but sometimes there are dry spells and you got to plan for those. If I was going to do it again, I'd make sure I'd have about at least a month, if not 2 months salary saved up and ready to go before I took that leap. But it's 3.5 years down the road and it's worked out pretty well. I mean, there are still, dry spots along the way. So it balances out. Okay, and finally, another question from Modus. How do you justify your price if someone says, my nephew can do it for $200, can you give me a lower price? Well, you tell them, go with your nephew. I'm a professional. I've been doing this for a while now. If you think your nephew can do a better job for $200 than I can do for $500, you're more than welcome to go to him. It might seem a little odd to, be turning away work, but if you're not getting paid what you're worth, unless there's a linked benefit to it, like the stuff I do for Twit, or it's a kind of project you've been wanting to get into and it'll get you a really good sample for it. Like I did this video for a local pizza shop here using green screen, kind of doing like a jib-jab kind of thing, because I wanted a really good sample of a local commercial and a jib-jab commercial. So I gave them a discount to my regular rate. I gave them the nephew rate, but there's a net benefit for that for me down the road. I've already gotten clients off that sample. Well, that's about it for this time. That's 6 questions. If you want to submit a question, I still have some more from the thread over at Reddit that I can answer next time. But if you want to submit some more questions, you can do it over on Reddit in the video editing subreddit. It's reddit.com/r/video editing. You can @reply me on Twitter with them. My Twitter is @BillMeeks, or you can submit them through the website, which is meeksmixedmedia.com. There's a contact form there. Just go ahead and send it in. I don't think I have an option for Q&A, but just go ahead and send it in as the general question and I'll figure it out. But thank you. I hope my answers were helpful and we'll see you next time.